Good evening, everybody. Another Monday night with bees all day. Hi, Donna, Clay, Mike from Vermont. Where's Ryan? See who else is in here. Dennis and Jeremy Davidson. I saw Kathy in here earlier. Let's see who else is in here. Pennsyltucky's in here. Let's see. I said Dennis. He came in early. So, how's everybody's weather been? Dodd's in here. Eddie's in here. So, how's everybody's weather been? It was 73 here today. And a little bit windy, a little on the cool side. It's going to be cool tonight. The link is pinned in the chat if you want to come in. DC, another Sunday swarm of bees. Uncle Junior, how are you? Yeah, you can paint it if you want to. Feel free. Yeah, that's just part of the apiary. That's the backside of the apiary. It takes 2 pictures to take pictures of our apiary now. So, yep, it's grown leaps and bounds. So, cool and wet for a couple weeks. Yeah, it's been cool. It was cool and wet this morning. We got some rain this morning, and it was very little rain this morning. To be honest with you, very little rain. They're calling for rain here again on Wednesday. There's Charlie. Good evening, young man.
Hey.
How are you? There's Keith. How are you tonight?
All right, I guess.
Yeah.
You say you got some rain?
Yeah, we did get some rain.
It went all south of us, down below the city.
Yeah. We got, I think we got 3 or 4 tenths. We didn't quite get a half inch like Clay got. They got more south of us than we got. But you can tell the ground got wet, put it that way.
We got a little, I guess, a shower yesterday afternoon, or late evening. But that was about it.
Yeah.
All the main thing went below in Baltimore, and all we had was clouds all day today. And it was 60 degrees.
Eric's here. James, good to see you.
Is that the bee yard behind you now?
Yeah, it takes 2 pictures to get the entire bee yard in there now.
I see what put nukes up above there.
Yep, those are all my nukes. We're using bucket feeders on them. We checked them Sunday, and most of them have at least 2 frames, some of them 3, some of them 4 frames of brood drawn out, laid out. We've got a couple of them that have a box put on them. And then, of course, all the splits behind it went in a deep nuke with an automatic next box on top of it for them to start drawing out, which they are drawing out. So all those bees are definitely going south for the winter, plus a few out of the yard. So we'll see how it goes. So.
Yeah, I got my background there tonight. It's my latest.
Yeah, you changed it.
Yeah, that's yesterday, I think it was.
Yeah, I got another picture here I can put up. Let's see. Got that one. There. That's the entire apiary.
Yeah, let's see, you had what, 3 rows? Now you got more of it over behind that.
Yep.
Yeah. Um, I went and let's see, I had my cell builder up, and I went ahead and I had to hunt and hunt and hunt and hunt for anything that was close to graftable. So I finally found a frame that I had to. It wasn't much, but I went ahead and grafted this evening.
Yeah.
It just didn't have the jelly in there, and I'm looking for a great big puddle of jelly where you barely could see any larvae, but either my new glasses I can see better or what it is. Like, I went in there and I picked the one frame up and brought it in, and I grafted, and I just instead of having a whole sheet of graftable material, it was one here and one here and one there, and trying to get some small stuff. So I don't know what it's gonna, So I went ahead and there's plenty of brood in the cell builder that still needs to hatch out, and so I put it right along a frame that was completely full of nectar, and then I
Yep.
put a bee bite on top of it. I figured, well, we'll see what happens.
Yep.
And tell you more about it come Saturday, I guess it is.
Yeah. Oh, I hope you get a good take on it.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I was just not real happy with it. Not real happy with the whole yard in general.
Yeah.
Seemed like I don't know, the queens are not really. I guess because like it's 60. We were out in winter gear again this morning.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Brian. And hey, Kathy. It was 60 degrees. Back to the coldness again. I don't know whether that's affecting them, where you're getting 70 one day and then you're back to 60s for the next 3 days.
Yeah, it was 73 here today. And tonight they're calling for a low of 38. Well, I wish the ground would squish here a little bit, Brian.
Yeah, I sure do too.
We just up for sunflowers and buckwheat today. And I'm going to plant some sweet clover here. So.
Place said it's only 50 degrees there where he's at.
Yeah, it's 59 here right now. Yeah, we don't have much of a flow coming in right now.
I've seen yesterday and today the poplar trees are starting to bloom, and the locust trees the bloom is going from white to sort of a, I don't know, off brown.
Yeah, it's about over when they do that.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be all that great of a year, but you got to understand. Hey, Eddie.
Hey, Eddie.
How you doing? Yeah, we've been getting rain like crazy down here. Everything's sopping wet.
Well, I was just watching the one of them weather things. One of them guys put on them. You guys got a lot of tornado stuff down that way, didn't you?
I didn't know about the tornadoes.
Mississippi did. I do know that.
Yeah, I haven't heard any tornadoes by us. Like I can only think of 2 or 3 times in my life I've heard of tornadoes down here. But we got crazy amount of rain. It just doesn't seem like it ever wants to stop. I think tomorrow we're supposed to get sun for the first time in I don't know how many days it's been. But our tallow is starting to bloom, and that's our main flow. But unfortunately, it started and then rain, rain, rain. So we're got 3 or 4 days of sun coming, which will be good. But I looked at the extended forecast, and it looks like we got another 5 or 6 days of rain in about 5 or 6 days, which is no good for the tallow flow. Usually when our tallow starts, which it just started this last week, swarming's done. I walked into my Madisonville yard and there's swarming every trap that I failed to take down. But not my bees, at least.
Yeah, I don't know. Mine, I don't know. Some of them hives out through there, they're doing good as far as bringing honey in and stuff like that. Like today, I had one out there. It was a single box, and it's grown. I think I don't know whether it's queenless or just what it is, but actually, no, it is queen, right? I did see the old queen in there, and it needed another super, so I threw another super on that tonight. And I was just going. I didn't. Some of them hives are so much weight on them. I had to have my hive lifter to do my work, so I'll do that Saturday. It's supposed to be 70 degrees. I got a new trainee coming in. He wants to learn. So he's never had, he's not part of a bee club. He don't know nothing about nothing. So I say, go get yourself the Beekeepers for Dummies book. So, and I said, at least read something, the terminology and things like that. I said, it's a relatively halfway decent book.
Yeah.
Is that a pretty good book? I never read that one.
I've looked at it. It kind of gives you the gist of it, all the club classes are over with. I don't think this guy's one of them class type people. I'll take his free labor and all that.
So Brent's got a question for you, Eddie.
No, I gave up on the styrofoam minis this year. I may look at them again next year, but I'm just doing the 3 framers the rest of the year. It was just too frustrating. I never did figure out what my problem was. Did everything the same this year I did last year, and worked great last year. This year it's just not happening.
What was the difference you say you did?
But I didn't really do anything different. I guess I'm trying to leave them a little bit longer in there because I was going to sell some mated queens this year, and I didn't want to sell a mated queen before 21 days. But it seems like they're absconding at like 16, 17 days. And I don't know why. They're absconding with cat brood. But there's still room. It's not, and they're absconding before anything that they have has come out. So they're not overcrowded or anything. I don't know what the deal is, but I've been pulling my hair out. That's why I'm bald now. I don't have any idea what the deal is. It's been very, very frustrating.
He's talking about Bradford pear honey. I don't think the bees even touched Bradford pear, do they?
I don't think so.
Not around here that I know of.
Yeah, I've never seen them on Bradford pears down here either. I heard you talking about having to hunt for larvae earlier. Last week, I had a frame. I thought it was a good frame. Brought it to the honey house to graft, and I got really frustrated after I only found like 4 or 5 larvae the right age. I'd go back, grab a different frame. I hate when that happens.
Well, I went through, I don't know, 5 or 6 hives trying to find milky brood, that I had stuff that was, old, plenty of old stuff, but none, you had eggs and old. Mm-hmm. There wasn't a band of milky, ruled jelly in there. There wasn't that separation. It was just, eggs and old.
Yeah, I find you find a section that has, and this happens to me a lot, I'll find a section, I see a bunch of eggs, and I'll see the larvae, and I figure, oh, well, there's got to be some good stuff by the eggs. And I'll go get it to the honey house and get in the dark and get a light, and realize that all the eggs I'm seeing are standing straight up, and they were just laid. So it's none of the eggs that are laying down. So everything's too old on that frame. You're looking for the ones that are laying down.
And then the stuff I did, the frame I did get, there wasn't an abundance of jelly. And I'm like, that means a lack of nutrition as far as I'm concerned, stuff coming in. So I'm wondering, because it's cold and whatever, they're not bringing enough honey in to stimulate them and whatever, along with the pollen. I'm not sure.
Do you feed your donor colonies too?
You mean as far as, for doing the brood? No, I don't do that normally.
Yeah, I usually keep a bucket on my breeders as well as my cell builders, and I feel like that helps with the royal jelly. But I really graft more stuff that doesn't even have the royal jelly. I kind of look for that just kind of clear liquid on the bottom, and I know I'm not getting anything too old then.
I mean, this would have a speck of jelly, and you get it, and then I'm looking at it's, and I don't know what it's my, I had magnification, but I also was just using these glasses here, looking at it out in the yard. I'm like, I don't know. I can see it. I don't want to be able to see it. That's what I'm really looking for. Or that one's really, and then when I got in here, then you could pick out ones here and there that, yeah, there it is right there. You could barely see it. I said, that's pretty darn small. So I tried to pick out all those type, and I don't know. I just kind of bulldozed through it, I guess you might say, and did the best I can.
And this was your first time grafting this year?
Yeah, it's my first attempt.
Yeah.
My cell builder's in good prime condition, and as far as amount of bees in there and all that stuff, I still got plenty of bees to emerge for good, nurse bee population. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. I just figured, well, I'll try it and, whatever.
Yeah.
I could wait, I could wait. That cell builder could probably wait for another week until it really all, emerged. But I figured, well, there's enough bees in there. I'll just go ahead and put a frame in, and I grafted 30 cells. We'll see what happens.
Sometimes I'm surprised when I find a patch of the right age and how many larvae you can get out of such a small section on the frame. It doesn't take a very big patch to graft a lot of bars. That always
I couldn't find the patch that I liked,
Y'all finally getting rain up there?
No.
Yeah, we got a little bit of rain today.
We didn't get everything that was decent went all way south of us, 50 miles south of us. So I don't know.
Stop down here.
I wish some of that would come up here and help grow these hay fields.
Yeah, they spread litter over the weekend on all the bean fields, and they're started turning it under today, so they don't have to spray. So,
what did they spread?
Chicken litter.
Okay.
Chicken
manure.
Okay.
Yeah. Chicken litter is the clean term for it.
Gotcha. Gotta remember, I'm not in an agriculture area, so we don't have any of that stuff down here.
That smell that you smell when you drive through a country area, it's called fresh country air.
Well, I'm in a country area, but it's all like horse farms is the majority of it up in the Folsom area.
So, Charlie, I don't know if you've heard anything about this or not. I just asked Travis this question. He said he hadn't heard it yet. One of my suppliers, I was talking to him 4 or 5 days ago.
Yeah.
He's got a pallet of Naroa sitting in his warehouse
Yeah.
that he can't sell, and he was notified by Man Lake that the manufacturer of Naroa is going back to the EPA to try to get it approved to sell it in a tote form so that the beekeepers can decide their own dosage.
Well, I had heard that they were coming out a tote form or to be able to add it to your sugar water and to be more commercially viable, I guess you would call it, for the commercial beekeepers,
Yeah.
where they could, you dosed your sugar water instead of having that pouch,
Yeah.
it's like it would be more cost effective. I heard that months ago, but I've never heard anything more about it. And then I've also heard, I don't know, was it you or somebody? Basically, the guy that invented the Nora, they hooked up with the Man Lake, and then Man Lake, jacked the price up so darn high that,
Yeah.
nobody wants to buy the stuff. And I think you were saying also you had to back it up with the other mite treatments anyway.
Yep.
It's
You
not a
do.
mite. It's not a mite killer. It just kind of suppresses the mites.
Well, no, it doesn't suppress them. What it does is it interrupts their reproduction. They can't reproduce, but there's new mites coming in all the time anyway. So,
Well, it sounds great, but I don't think it's going to work out so great.
mm-mm.
It's like Queens. Everybody talked about Saskatraz 2 or 3 years ago, and they were a hot thing for 1 year, one season, and after that, you don't hear nobody talk about them anymore.
No, very few.
Very few. Just like all that stuff.
I mean, I think the genetics is just one more tool in the toolbox. I mean, I'm trying to do the VSH thing with the bee lab down here, and I mean, I'm not a treatment-free beekeeper. I mean, I don't treat my breeders, and if they need treatment, they're out of the breeding program. But I have no illusions I'm ever going to get to where I don't have to treat anything. But I do think that it helps. Like, I don't treat much. I just use oxalic acid vaporization and thymol.
Yeah. That's like Brian there from Castle Highs. Chris Medeiros talked about he liked his Saskatraz. And I'm like, it was like, what is it, 2-3 years ago? They were the hot thing.
Yep.
About 3 years ago, something like that. They lasted one season and they all kind of made a flop and everybody said, forget it.
Yep.
Was there a reason people got off of them? I mean, did they not perform well? Or
I don't know. I mean, I just kind of sat. I didn't get on the bandwagon. I just sat back and watched.
Yeah, that's one of those things you just sit back and watch and see how long it's going to last.
Kathy and them have Saskatraz, and they said they love them. So,
Jonathan, Succatraz.
yeah, DC. Everybody wants a magic bee bullet. My biggest problem is you buy queens and whatever. And
you need to name your strain of queens there, Sawmill.
Yeah, we can call them. I don't know. We can make them sawmill queens or firewood queens or
there you go.
Sawdust queens.
There you go. Sawdust queens. That's a good one.
We'll see what they do. That's my biggest complaint about the ones I got out there now is maybe I'm trying to do what Eddie's doing, where you make that small nuke up, that 3-frame nuke, maybe let it grow, and see whether I get a good laying pattern out of that young queen before I drop her into that new hive.
I think that's going to work out for you really well. I mean, I can't tell what kind of laying pattern you're going to get, but your acceptance is going to be almost 100%, I bet,
Yeah.
dropping a nuke in.
Hey, Glade, how'd your queen operation do? I didn't get to watch your video yet. I don't know. It's just this year. I don't know. I just, it's like the weather's not playing. The weather is like a roller coaster here,
Yep.
and everything's early, and it's like, yeah, it hadn't rained, it hadn't knocked the blooms off the locust trees, but yet it's so cold the damn bees can't get out of the house, or they don't want to get out of the house. I mean, they can fly at 60, but when you get a day that's 75, 80, that's when everybody. I mean, I was out there Saturday afternoon, and there was flight, and you can see it all the way out there at the end. You see where the white stuff is on the ground. I recarpeted my underneath. I had carpet down. It rotted out after 4 or 5 years, and the weeds and stuff was coming up. So the ground was hard enough. I got my forklift out there, raised them racks up with those 2 hives on there, backed up, clean, cut everything down with a weed eater and moved my blocking and all that stuff, lay down my new carpet, put the blocking back in, and put the hive back down on top of it and re-level everything. And anyway, I got up to where I put down, let's see, I worked on 4 racks. And that was 8 out of the 10 hives where it comes up through there. And about 2:30, 3 o'clock, then I guess it maybe got a little bit warmer, and then everybody started coming out, boiling out of the hives to go to locusts or whatever. All more, there were some, but nothing compared to what where they were. Getting at is they weren't working.
Yeah.
They were, because of the weather.
Yep.
And then that last hive, I lifted it up. Everything went well. They didn't attack me or anything, even because the forklift at that, I had to get around on the front side where the entrances were to bring them up out of the way, and put the carpet in. And I didn't have any issues with the bees themselves. But it just seemed like, you got the weather against you, it seemed like. And then I got queen issues throughout the hives there. Some of them are doing good, some of them are not, and all that. And it's it seemed like you get queens, and like you said, Eddie, you put the new queens in, and then after about 2 or 3 weeks after they get kind of going, then they get rid of the queens, and they want to make their own. They got queen cells on the face of the frames. Is that what you had?
No, you talk about my mini mating nukes? No,
I don't know.
They were just absconding. I mean, empty box. Like, over and over again. I really just don't have an answer to what was going on. Now the larger stuff, like the stuff I mated in 5-framers and 3-framers, no problems with that at all. I just didn't run near as many 3-framers this year because I was going to put more effort into the minis, and that was kind of a disaster for me. So now I'm behind on everything. I don't have all the mated queens I planned on having to requeen stuff and make splits at the end of the honey flow. So I'm having to shift gears a little bit. This year's been kind of weird. Like, it's been one little problem after another. I mean, early on it was dry and windy. The privet didn't do anything, so they didn't build up on the privet like usual. And then now the tallows early, and then we're getting all this rain. I feel like the bees were early starting off, but I feel like they stalled when we didn't get the privet flow. I feel like the bees are a little bit behind where I'd like them to be right now, and the tallows early.
Yeah, I don't know. Just I don't know.
No, DC. Last year I used the minis. I just didn't use as many of them, and they worked great. I had no problems at all. So this year I invested in a lot more of them, and this year it went not well. Like I said, I don't really know why it went so bad, but that's what's so frustrating is I don't have an answer to what the cause of it was.
Hey, Michael and Queen Bee. So this one, Queen Bee commented on your mini mating nukes.
Yeah, a lot of people don't like them, and right now I'm in that club of not liking them.
Yeah.
But if you're not real big, you can get a lot more queens mated because it takes so much less resources. I only put a cup and a half of bees in each one, so it's not that hard for me to come up 40, or I guess that's 60 cups of bees to load them up, as opposed to 2 frames of brood and a frame of food for a 3-way for every one of those. That's a lot more resources.
Yeah.
But I may be going back to just the full frames again next year, and I'll try. I mean, I'll try some again next year probably, but I'm not gonna do 50 or 60 of them again. I mean, actually, I only had 40 of them running at once, and out of 40 of them running, I got 3 mated queens. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Now, 17 of them were taken out by raccoons, but still, there was a whole lot of absconds, and yeah, it very frustrating.
Yeah, I was watching the video tonight. That is Emily, a beekeeper, the girl that went out to California, and she's trying to go from 200 hives to 900. And some of the things I was surprised she didn't know is that making splits where, you pull out the frame, take out the frame, shake all the bees off that you want for the split. Then you put your queen excluder down and put your box back on top and put your frames in. And of course, the bees come back up in there. And which they were doing it where they were trying to find the queen and all this other stuff, and it's like too much time, She was talking about when you scale up, you have to do everything so much differently. And, like that was a huge time saver that they obviously didn't know nothing about. And then she was talking about putting queens in, mated queens in. And she had bought, I don't know, several hundred queens. And they are in California cages. That's all I can tell you about them. And they were carnies, too, because they were dark. And where she mask and taped the candy side. And she was saying, we were always taught you wait 24 hours, 48 hours before you put the queen in, because of the pheromone thing. And she says, we're doing it. We don't want the pheromones to dissipate. We want to put that queen right in there, put the tape on there. I don't think she was pecking a hole in the end of it like Benny talked about.
Yep.
And She just taped it. That was it. And
Yeah,
put it in there and let it stay in there for an extra 2 or 3 days. And that way the hive was, would accept it better. And
yep.
then she talked about where she was, I think the way I got it, I have to go back and listen to it. She had several different things here, but basically making a split with no brood, no open brood in there at all. That way they weren't given a choice. If they give them a choice to make cells, they'll make that cell over that queen. And then she talked about the stress thing. She said the stress thing is a major key where, they should have plenty of feed when you're introducing a new queen. Not, they shouldn't be stressed out because they won't accept the food because of all that other stuff. They're pretty good. It was kind of like I was thinking about Will, Toothaker, and how he's transitioning to build up to a number of hives, and some of the different the ways you have to revert. You have to kind of do thought process differently when you're building numbers and stuff. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
900 is a hell of a jump.
The Hawaiian queens, I picked up a couple of tidbits from them. If you put one layer of like painter's tape, masking tape on it, it adds about 2 to 3 days to the release. If you put 2 layers on it, it's at least an 8 to 9 day release period.
But is that too long?
But what they said is if you put 2 layers of masking tape on it, you don't want to do that unless it's a very extremely aggressive or an extremely strong hive that's queenless. Because then they get used to that pheromone over that period of time from taking care of the queen. And once they let her out, they will more easily accept her.
Hey, Dottie.
That was the
I can buy that
advice from them.
What always kind of gets me is if you're sitting there and you're paying for these queens, and they'll say, well, I had a 95% acceptance rate. Well, if I got to pay for these darn queens, I want 100% acceptance rate.
It just doesn't happen, or not too often, I should say. But I mean, if you're ordering a bunch of queens, and I do it no matter what, I think they send a good bit of extra. I mean, I always send a bunch of extra when I'm shipping queens. Because I don't want to have to eat shipping if several of them don't make it in the mail.
Depends on the time of year you order them too, whether you get any extra or not.
Probably. And I mean, I'm at a point where I'm making so many more than what I'm selling. I mean, nobody knows who I am. I'm not selling that many queens. I'll still make a whole bunch just in case, but I get a few orders here and there, and I give them out locally. Normally, I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get rid of most of the queens I've got each week. So when somebody orders like 6, sometimes I'll fill up a box of 20 for them. I'll let them know, hey, look, have a place to do it. It doesn't cost me but like another $1 or $2 to do that, It's the same in shipping, and the queens don't cost me anything. It's just the cages and stuff. So I always send a good bit extra.
But I don't know. I just liked her, how she said, we were always taught this way, but now because they hanging with him, the commercial guys, they showed him a bunch of different other things. And then he says the stress factor is a very important part when it comes to the bee industry. I'm not sure how you recognize all that, but maybe it's a the thing where you're always feeding them. That's why you want to do certain things.
I wish I could have gone and like volunteered or helped out a commercial guy. There's a guy in Poplarville I probably could have gone and hang out with that runs like 20,000 hives. I would have loved to have done that for a little bit before I got into it, but now I can't really do that because I got to take care of my bees, you know. But it would have been great if I would have gone and spent a season or just part of the season with a commercial guy just to see what they're doing different, you know. I mean, I might not want to do everything they're doing, but I'm sure I could pick up a thing or two and maybe understand some things that I don't understand, you know,
Yeah.
some time saving things. Or like, y'all know that guy, Matthew Walker, the Walk in the Woods guy?
Yeah.
It, I am baffled at how he can take care of as many hives as he has without any help. Like, that's just, he'd be a great person to shadow one day. It's like, how in the world are you doing 2,000 hives with just you and your wife?
He's by himself.
Yeah. He's talking about he's trying to get a part-time helper. He hasn't found one yet. Now he's growing. He just hit like the 2,000 mark. You know, I think he sent last year. This was last year. He sent two trucks to almonds. This year he sent 3 trucks to almonds, and he's trying to send more each time. But I mean, that's a lot of trucks. That's a lot of bees for one person to manage.
Yeah.
He seems like a workaholic.
Yeah, really.
And he worked for a commercial guy for a while before he went off on his own. And so he learned a whole bunch of tricks of the trade, probably ways to cut corners and stuff. Like cut corners that won't hurt you, but just speed, time saving things, you know?
Yeah.
Brett said he had a helper, but he quit. I guess he got tired of working sun up to sundown. Or ice was after him, one of the two.
Anything's possible. So, are you definitely going? Have you definitely fully switched over to your 3-frame mating nukes, Eddie? Or are you still in the process?
I'm in the process. I mean, I have them. I've got so much I'm trying to catch up with. Like, say, the tallow's hitting. We've had horrible weather for over a week. I've got to get stuff ready in the honey house. I mean, I feel like I think I'm always behind no matter what, just because I think it's part of beekeeping, probably, or me not being organized enough or something. But tomorrow, I'm grafting. I got cage queens and stuff. Depending on how long that stuff takes me tomorrow, I might put it together another 6 or 7 of them, and I'll probably drop queens in them sometime later in the week. But I think during the off season, I'm probably going to do a little bit more woodworking than I did this past year and make a bunch more of them. I'll probably run, I don't know, 30 or so of those next year. Because I got people asking for mated queens all the time. Like,
Oh, yeah.
if I could make 1,000 mated,
I had the same problem last year. They all wanted mated queens. Why? Because that's the only thing they get taught in the bee club. The only thing.
and I give out my genetics free in our bee clubs. The 2 I'm in, everybody knows they get virgins from Kent and I every weekend for no charge, you know, at least through next year when the program's done. And there's only a handful of people that will take me up on it. It's very strange. Now, the people that take me up on it, I mean, they really take me up on it. Like, they get a lot of queens.
Yeah.
And like one guy gets them from me, gets them mated, and he sells them. which is fine. You know, he's not selling all of them, and it's getting some of those more of those genetics out in the area, which is what we're trying to do locally, is push the pole line stuff out down here. And I want more people around here to have nice bees too. I'm sick of going and helping people and getting tore up because they're not my bees, or just they're not gentle genetics. And some people just don't understand that you can have bees that are not trying to tear you up when you go into the bottom box. I mean,
Oh yeah.
like I said, 90% of the time I'm in bees, I'm in a t-shirt and a veil. You know, I don't get tore up. Now, it's a rainy day, I give them a break. You know, I understand I'm probably going to take some stings on a rainy day. But if the weather's good, I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, Uncle Junior, Clinton Bee Company. Yeah, I watched that video. And what it amounted to was he was going to go out to almonds, and he built his hives up to where they're double deeps, strong, lots of brood, lots of bees, and he was feeding them to get that population up. Then they decided they weren't going to do almonds, and he stopped feeding them. Well, you had huge, huge bee population in there, and because of all the brood, you probably had, 10 frames of brood in there. Once he cut the darn feed off of them, they went through the feed like somebody in March around here would be.
Yep.
They went through the brood to keep it, even though he's down in the middle of Georgia, I think, around Atlanta, and it's relatively warm. Those bees went through that resources like nothing, like no tomorrow, and they starved to death. He lost out of 100 colonies, he only had 14 left.
Why did he decide not to send them?
I don't know. It was him and somebody else was going to send them, and something happened. They just didn't do it.
That hurts.
Three mated queens shipped to house for $156. So I don't know.
Yeah, but if you build up that high, and you're going to go, you're going to build up like that to go to California, and then all of a sudden you realize that you're not going to go. Instead of just ignoring the bees, you could sell them.
Well, he was in the middle of January.
Yeah.
And now he's thinking it in Georgia. But I think what it was, inexperience there, where he said, "Oh, I can't stop now." It's like one of them potential or whatever, perpetual situation. If it had carried through, if anything, if he would have made a split, he could have probably took the 100 hives and turned them into 200. He still would have had to feed them, even though, but he's in an area like you say in Georgia or Alabama, somewhere like that. I think central Alabama. He could have got ahead that way.
Yeah.
But he just made a beekeeper error.
Yeah.
Hey, Lisa.
Happens all the time.
Yeah, I know that I was reading here, Dottie, was it? Yeah. She's on her second year and going through inspections and feels more knowledgeable or confident, going through the inspections. Yeah, you kind of know what you want to look for, Dottie. Brood patterns and how many frames of brood and things of that nature. I got a new guy that I watched and commented, and he's seen my channel too after I commented on his stuff, and he was trying to do a demo. I said, "Look," I says, "you need to." he had a bunch of foundation in his hive, and I'm like, you need to focus on getting wax strong. I think he was trying to expand all at the same time, and you really can't. He didn't have the amount of bees to do all that with.
Right.
He had a hive that. That's the problem with beekeeping. It's like a season to get a one correction done or something, or build up comb. This year, all you're going to be able to do is build the hive up and build comb, and that's all you're going to get done per se. And then next year, you might get a honey crop out of that hive. And it's a your season's so short, you only can get a little bit done.
Building comb is so key too. I mean, that's one of my big hurdles, because I'm trying to expand, and I'm trying to get 3 pallets of comb drawn this season, and I'm not going to quite get there, but I've gotten. I'll probably get 2 pallets drawn.
Yeah. Yeah, Odell's down in Florida there. He bought nukes in January. Well, yeah, you can do those kind of things down there.
I can't wait for the season where I'm not trying to get comb drawn, and all of a sudden my honey crop goes up 3 times. Figure the first year I don't try to expand, and I don't need to get comb drawn. It's going to multiply drastically.
Yeah, it will. It'll definitely multiply.
I'm still in the phase where I have to buy honey from other beekeepers, which is crazy to me. I'm always out.
Those big commercial guys, when they sell you honey, is it decent honey or?
I don't buy from big commercial guys. I'm really picky. I actually only bought honey from people I know really well. In fact, I've only bought honey from 3 people, and 2 of those people I worked their bees, so I know exactly what's going on. And the other one I know really well, and he's in the bee club too.
Hey, Bracken.
I'm not buying a ton. Like I buy a handful of buckets here and there. Just trying to keep my customers not from going to other beekeepers if I can. Let's see. I got people calling me all the time for honey. I'm like, just go on Facebook and follow me on there, and I will put on there when I have it. Everybody wants you to call them. So would you get honey when you give me a call? I'm like, I cannot tell you I'm going to do that. I'd have a long list of people I'd have to call. Follow me on Facebook. I'll put it on there when I've got honey.
There you go.
Sound like to me you need to buy a little bit more honey than a couple buckets so you don't run out.
I bought almost. Let's see. I probably bought close to
1,000
80 gallons last year. On top of what I had, and I sold out. I could have sold almost double that. I mean, I only made like 60 gallons myself. So was that like I sold about 140 gallons of honey, I guess. I could have easily probably sold 300 gallons of honey if I would really tried, which is what I kind of was hoping I was going to make this year. But with the privet flow not happening, the bees just didn't build into stuff like they usually would in the privet flow. So now in the tallow flow, they're having to draw a whole bunch of comb that I would have expected them to draw in the privet flow. So we'll see what I get,
Yeah.
I figure if I got 100 production hives, there's no reason why I shouldn't be able to easily harvest almost 500 gallons, But all the production hives weren't ready yet because, like I said, they weren't into their second deep because the privet didn't happen.
$500 gallons is a lot of honey.
Yeah.
That's 6,000 pounds.
Yeah.
I mean, that's only averaging 5 gallons a hive at 100 production hives. That's not that high of an average.
Yeah, but that's a lot of honey.
That's about what I would like to make each year.
I'd like to make about 1,500 to 2,000. Well, that's what I need to sell. Be able to sell. I don't know. Honey sales right now are kind of that spring, push is kind of slowed up a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, I only do, and I'm not doing it right now because I haven't had honey. I do a market only once a month. I do the first Sunday of the month.
I don't do any of them things. People,
No.
they come to me. They do.
Okay.
Now I have.
Yeah, they do. They go to Charlie.
I
I
believe
mean, I will have to say I have honey in my office at the mill, and I'm located on a main state highway. So, but I've been at it long enough. I got a clientele that comes back, repeat customers, and that kind of stuff. I had one lady. She comes in. She always would buy at least 4 3-pounders at a clip. And so the last time she came in here about a couple months ago, she said, I went and bought some honey, it was from the Lancaster County at the Amish farm or whatever. And I looked at that stuff, it was in a mason jar, and of course half of it's crystallized and the other half, and I said, boy, that looks like motor oil to me. She said, taste this stuff. It's terrible. I'm like, I said, yeah, I kind of figured I know what that is. I tasted it, I said, most likely buckwheat. I said, that's like eating motor oil.
Well, it could have been spotted lanternfly too.
Yeah, well, that could be true. Yeah, I never thought about that.
y'all have that up there.
Oh, in Pennsylvania? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've got it here too.
What do I sell it for? I sell a minimum of $12 a pound, and I don't discount nothing. And I'm on the cheap side. Most folks, if I was going to go out to a fair and an event or whatever, minimum $15 a pound.
Yep.
And all that.
And if it's flavored, if it's just flavored runny honey, it's about 18 a pound, and creamed honey is runs between $20 and $25 a pound.
You say where they put flavoring in regular runny honey?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I see around in Maryland, if you do that kind of stuff, then you got to have a kitchen, then you're going to have to be inspected and all that stuff. I don't do any of that. All that.
Yeah, I plan on building on my property in Folsom next year, and I'm going to put up one of those, like a honey stand up at the front of my property, and hopefully that will do fairly well there too. We'll see. It's kind of off the beaten path. It's not on the main highway or nothing, but it'd be a place where people can get it anytime. That is not something that I have. Like I said, once a month.
Well, I'll get phone call. I got my phone number on my label.
Yeah, me too.
And I got one. I got the pizza guy. He'll call me up. Hey, I'm coming by because he's delivering a pizza. And I need 2 1-pounders. I said, all right, and I'll meet him out there. I give me the money. Here's the honey. See you later. I don't care if it is at 8 o'clock at night. It's $24. All right, see you later.
Yeah, I got a few people that call and meet me.
Some people have a problem with that about coming to the house, And I've grown up where we always lived where our business was, so that's just natural for me, as far as people stopping by and all that. But
yeah, I went ahead and got my license and everything to do flavored honeys. So
you have to get a license to do flavored honeys?
Yeah, through the Virginia Department of Agricultural Services.
Yeah, and here you have to have a regular, because you're mixing honey and stuff.
Yep.
You have to have a commercial kitchen.
Yep.
Yeah, so when I build next year, I'm going to try to convert honey house and make it where I can get inspected by health. Down here, we got to get inspected by health and hospitals if you want to sell it if you want to sell it wholesale. So if you're not selling to the end user, like you want to put it in a store or something, you have to have a certified kitchen, or
Yeah, that's what.
like your honey house has to be pass a health and hospitals inspection.
Yeah, well, that's what Bill's got. I think. You know.
When I say I want to do that and put my honey in stores, but I mean I can't. I can sell more than I can make the way I'm doing it right now. So I really don't know what I'm thinking about. I mean, eventually I should be making a lot more honey than I'm making now.
Well, that's where
Yeah.
you buy that. That's where you buy those drums of honey.
Yeah, people really like to know that it's coming from me. You know,
Oh, I get it. I know what you're saying.
especially, and that's one of the things that the farmers market. I think people really like the fact that they can meet the beekeeper and talk to the beekeeper, and you'll talk about the bees if they want to hear about the bees, or well, I talk about the bees whether they want to hear about it or not. I got my girlfriend there to tell me to shut up now and then. All right, you're going too far. Some people like it. Some people are like, oh, okay, you know. But a lot of people really like the fact that you're passionate about it, and they can tell that you're passionate about it, and they like knowing that it didn't go anywhere except from the bees to me to them. You know.
Yeah, I get that. When I started out, where's your bees? I said, up behind the barn. I said, you can go up there and look at them if you want. And after, they kind of got the gist of it all, and they knew who, and then, you don't have that problem. All that. Yeah, I don't know where them commercial kitchens are, but that's a real pain.
Yeah, sometimes you can go to a restaurant or something like that, or to a church and rent their kitchen for so much a month, so many hours a week or so many hours a month. Then,
Yeah, I had somebody
there's
talk.
your inspection right there. You still have to get them to come in and inspect it, but it's not all on you at that point.
So we had a lady down here talk to me a few years about ways around it, and she said some people will go to a school, and
Yeah.
their kitchen's already inspected and passed and stuff, and they're on summer break. So she's like, you can go and get in with a principal or something and just borrow it for a week because they're out of school when you're harvesting the honey. I never actually did it, but it might be a workaround for somebody.
Sounds like a complicated. Up around here, that would be really complicated.
Really?
The politics behind that, it would be something else.
I didn't do it. It was just brought up to me by a lady who was talking to me about some other ways around things. So it's an option.
Yeah, Pennsylvania's real stickler about all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, Pennsylvania is really sticklers about some stuff.
Yeah, if you want to sell your honey in somebody's, like you're wholesaling it to them, you got to be inspected. A friend of mine, he finally got caught, but he had a room just for bottling honey, with the stainless steel equipment, stainless steel. He had bought some stuff that was used stainless tops, countertops and stuff. And I don't know, about 10 pages of paperwork, inspection, and everything went fine because he was up, up on it and all that stuff. But it's like they don't have anything better to do,
Yeah, for me, my honey house, the only thing that makes it not be able to pass for me is I don't drain into a certified septic system. I mean, all I do there is rinse honey. I mean, I got a sink, it goes out onto the ground outside. But I mean, I don't use any chemicals or anything. A little bit of Dawn dish soap goes through the sink, and that's it. You know, I don't. So once I put
You got a pit with some stone in it.
what's that?
Got a pit with some stone in it.
Pit with some stone in it. And it's really sandy soil out there where I'm at. It's not even wet where it drains onto the ground, except 5 minutes after I've been doing a whole lot there. It just goes away. I'm saying I'm not
The guy
rinsing
here,
anything bad.
yeah, there was a guy here. But of course, he's passed away several years ago. But he talked when he put his when he built his house, he had the septic system for the toilets and stuff like that, and the clean rinse water. But he said for like the wash machine where you have the suds and stuff like that, and possibly grease or whatever coming out of a clothes washer.
Yeah.
You know, he dug I guess he had a guy with one of them diggers, to dig a hole up, and then he filled it up with a bunch of certain size rock, and then that went into that. And he said, I don't have any, he said all that stuff that messes up your regular system, they separated it. Of course, the county didn't know anything about it.
Okay.
And it worked fine, all that stuff.
So are you grafting up there yet, Bill? I know Charlie
No,
said.
I'm not grafting any this year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like I say, I'll see how it takes come Saturday.
I bet you'll be good.
Yeah, we'll see.
That first take sometimes is rough.
Yeah. I don't know. Just I'll have to get my incubator up and running here. Oh, I don't know, Thursday or something like that. Get it up to speed, get up 93 degrees. And then put it in there. And then I'm going to have to go through the hives. And I guess I'll have my help with me. And we'll be going down in the brood chambers, looking for brood and stuff to put upstairs on these demeries. It's been a couple weeks. I guess I'll have to make up some mating boxes and all that. By Saturday, I'll kind of know how many mating boxes I'll have to make up. So when you're making up your mating boxes, do you put open brood in there, or you just put all cat brood in there?
I put open brood. So I feel like if you put cat brood, it doesn't lock the bees in there.
Mm.
I feel like you need some open brood to keep the bees from leaving. 2 years ago, I made that mistake. I was like, I'm just going to do a whole bunch of cat brood, and I had almost no bees. They all kind of left. I feel like the bees don't, even if they're nurse bees, at some point they get, well, we don't have anything we have to do. I think you need some open brood to lock some bees in there.
Well, and then what do? Go back so many days out and cut all the darn queen cells out?
I do. It's more, what I do is more labor intensive for sure. But it works for me. There's so many different ways to do it. I mean, I'm sure you can get away with doing cat brood. My buddy Kent Williams down here, he does more cat brood, and he makes a split, and he keeps them locked up for 2 days.
Yeah, well, see, I got some 2-frame mating boxes I made, which now I would have made them 3-frame, whatever, and I lock them up too. And they kind of forget where they live. They did live.
Yeah, that's what he says.
Yeah. And Ryan, what do you do? I know you have already grafted. You did a good job grafting here. Oh, there he is. Use all cat brood for that reason. No cells to cut down. Yeah. I don't know. One thing I've noticed is, like, especially with when I was doing my cell builder, was I'll bring all that brood up. Of course, the cell builder's all cat brood, and I'm bringing that up on my Demery hive. So now that top box can become a resource hive, resource area for me, and I can pick stuff out. And it seemed like to me, you give them 24 hours and you got all them nurse bees up there. You get good coverage, got lots of bees, and they hang with that brood. And then you can pull that stuff out. It seemed like to me, my cell builder, those bees stayed there. But now if you go up there and let's say you bring that brood up and you come back an hour later, and all those bees don't seem to stay with that brood as well as when they've been up there for, it's been 24 hours.
And I don't know how it looks on y'all's frames, but I feel like even the frames that are big, solid, laid up cat brood, around the edges, you'll still find some eggs and larvae here and there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Because
I
went back here Thursday and I went through every hive on top there. And sure enough, I had about 4 different frames that I needed to cut the darn cells out. And then I just went through my cell builder yesterday, frame by frame, and cutting cells out because they were the premium frames, as I call it, where they were almost, I'll say 95 plus capped off brood.
So it's one of the reasons I don't, a lot of people like to make their cell builders up ahead of time. I like to make my cell builder up and graft into it right then and there. And I put open brood right next to my graft also, but it's so rare that they'll have cells in there. If you give them cells to work on right away, they tend to not really go work on anything else, I find. I mean, every once in a while you'll find one on another frame, but it's very rare. Now, if you make it up and then wait overnight or something, then yeah, you're gonna have all kind of cells started in other places too. But if you make it up and then just go and graft, and you're grafting into it in less than 30 minutes from when you finish making it, they really don't try to draw other stuff out because they've got all your grafts that are already oriented facing down to, we just work on these.
And Odell wants to know if I have a top entrance. I believe that's how it's reading on my Demery. No, you don't want a top entrance. That was another mistake. You want everybody to come into the front. And I know you got the drones up there. Well, in most cases you don't have the drones up there because I don't put cat brood normally doesn't. I don't have drone brood in there. You'll have some, but I don't really worry about it. What's her name here? Or what's her name? Anne, that's who I'm looking for. All right, Anne, you say this is your first year. I'll save honey boards. You mean frames. Get your terminology right. For my bees this winter, I won't be stingy. Well, you can, and that's fine. Yeah, if you leave a super on there with honey in it for their feed for the winter, but don't think that that's going to, depending where you live at, whether that's going to be enough. You're still, there's the old thing of sugarwater works quite well. And you can have the honey up in the top like that. Like I've had that. 3 mediums in my hives. The top box is pretty much filled with honey. And I'll still put a top hive feeder on in September. And I will pour the sugar water to them 2-to-1 concentration. And they'll take 5 gallons at least. Maybe more. Fill them up.
You'll get 5 gallons of 2-to-1, like thick sugar syrup on them?
Yeah, well, I'm looking at my top high feeders. They're on one side's 2 gallons. I'll fill that thing at least 3 times.
Okay.
If I have enough sugar water, I might fill both troughs. And hey, Tom and Melissa, and I'll fill them up. This year I think I have less hives. I used to have some gallons of sugar water left over, so I think what I'll do is I'll start filling up the top hive feeders, all those Man Lake ones, that come in the middle like that.
Mhm.
I think I'll fill both sides of it. I'll pump it off on both sides.
When I pull honey, I plan on putting buckets on almost immediately afterwards. I'm going to try to get some more comb drawn. And on some of them, we're going to actually try to do some splits, and we'll see how that goes. I was planning on doing a lot more of that than I'm actually going to get to do because I thought I was going to have a bunch of mated queens for it, but I don't think I'm going to have anywhere. I know I'm not going to have anywhere close to the mated queens I wanted to have. So I might have to just use virgins and see what gets mated. It's
Yeah.
going to be getting to that time where it's hard for us to get them mated because the dragonflies get so bad. But maybe since our flow's early this year, the dragonflies won't be bad when I'm trying to do that. Just see.
Right. I was changing things around.
I don't know how to do any of that fancy background stuff.
It's in your. You look at the gear, and it'll say visual effects, and then down below that is the backgrounds that you can use, which they give you some basic stuff and all that. But I don't like that one. That's the carpet I put down. There's a shot from one end to the other.
I'm just going to stick with that.
Yeah, I'll stick with that. But yeah, sold the RV. I got over 2,500 views of that short. And I didn't take that. My son actually took that video, a little short video.
Yeah, Tom, they have new carpeting.
Yeah,
He recarpeted over the weekend.
I put new indoor outdoor carpet in Saturday. Yeah. Now I can find my blocks and wedges and everything else that falls off.
And hive tools.
And hive tools, and no more weed eating for the next 4 years.
Yep.
I tried carpet my first year, and down here, I think the humidity is just too high for it. It got kind of nasty and smelly, and it
You got a lot of.
I moved to old shingles, and now I just use the rolls of that black stuff from nurseries and stuff.
Yeah, living garden homestead. Yes, I took I had about, let's see, I made up 6 different nukes, and then I went through the tops of my demaries and pulled brood out with bees after I had put the brood up there the day before, and I took and populated I won't say all 6 boxes at the same time, but over a period of time, I populated them. And then put some queens in there. And let's see. Tom says you make. No, you got to remember when I put the carpet down, it's the fuzzy side goes to the ground and the backing goes up. And no, I don't take my shoes off.
So it's the ants that make you take your shoes off, huh?
What is it?
It's the ants that make you take your shoes off, huh?
And they got no ants. Rug burns. It is nice. You haven't got all them weeds and everything coming up through there.
Yep.
I was just happy. I've been wanting to do that for about a couple of years, but finally the ground got right and I had availability of a forklift. And now I would go at least 3 frames.
Yeah.
At least. And then 3 frames of drawn, and then you can put an open frame of drawn comb or in there for her to lay, or or maybe a piece of foundation. Usually I try to minimum 3 frames, and then you kind of build up from there. But have enough demery. If you got enough demeries, you should be able to pull maybe 1 or 2 frames out of each hive to populate.
Tickets go on sale for the expo soon, don't they?
They're already on sale.
Oh, okay. So, yeah.
What's that? Tickets?
Yeah.
Expo.
No, that's the 15th. 15th. The early bird tickets are the 15th to the 21st, I think it is.
Yeah.
Starts on this coming Friday and then following Thursday, and then it jumps up in price.
Yep.
You know what the price
hotels, you can book your hotel or book the main hotel, whatever the name of that thing is.
So we broke ground for sunflowers, buckwheat, and sweet clover today.
I was told buckwheat honey tastes kind of like Robitussin. Is that true?
Tastes like what?
Robitussin cough syrup?
No, that's cherry.
Okay.
Buckwheat honey is like
molasses, blackstrap molasses.
It's backstrap molasses.
It's not. It's got a really a bad afterbite to it.
Yeah, it's kind of a bitter afterbite. It's not a sweet honey taste, but people use it to cook with a lot.
Okay. It's dark, right?
It's really dark. You can't see through it.
Now,
like Charlie says, it looks like burnt motor oil or a really thin tar. It's what it looks like.
Brian says it tastes like licorice. He loves it. I don't like licorice. Never did.
I can't stand licorice.
Me either.
So I probably
Grammy says molasses. I guess
she uses she said I use it to make brown sugar, so I'm assuming she's using the buckwheat honey to make the brown sugar.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people use buckwheat at the commercial level as a cooking grade and all that. Yeah. And Brian, he likes black licorice. Yeah, I guess he's a Twizzler guy.
That or penny candy from the from a general store.
Yeah. Thunder and lightning is getting bad here. Y'all don't hear all
Yeah.
that?
No, I don't hear any of it.
Okay. It's loud. So the other thing that's been killing me with this bad weather we've been having is I've got an incubator going all the time, so I'm all worried power's going to go out. So I'm constantly waking up and checking. All right, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. I don't have a whole house generator here. My parents do, and they're like 10 minutes away. Like if power goes out, I'm going to have to grab the incubator, haul butt to my
Well,
parents'
just get
house.
yourself your Honda generator out.
Yeah, put a Honda generator outside the window and you'll be fine.
That's right.
Well,
Don't
so
put
I'm-
it inside the house like some bunch of goofballs around here.
Yeah.
So
I'm
in
serious.
an apartment.
There's been a couple deaths that way. They put it in the basement. Seriously.
Yeah. Put it
And
in the
ran it,
basement
and
or
they
put
all
it in the
got
garage
barbecue.
or something stupid
Oh, I know.
like that.
That
There's a lot of that stupidity down here because we have all the hurricane stuff, and you get people that are just not very bright. I just don't get it. I think the common thing was they put it right outside of a window, and the exhaust is blowing right into the house. What is wrong with you people?
they don't think about it.
No, not good.
Yeah, you're right, Odell. I am dating myself.
I went to a place. I think I dropped a load of firewood off, and they had the house, and they had like a screened in porch. Now I'm talking not a big porch. I'm talking about maybe let's say an 8-foot square porch, maybe 10-foot square, and there's the generator sitting inside that porch. The screen, at least it's does screened in. But it's like, dude, what are you doing? He had to exhaust out the screen. I'm like, yeah, right. And then had somebody else here that damn near died, and they had it in the basement running. I'm like, really?
I can't believe somebody put it in a basement. But
Yeah, West Cliff, he says put a UPS battery in. I said, I got one of them, but they don't last very long. I got them on my computer here. I don't know. It seemed like after a while they get weak, and then the alarm goes off all the time. And I went ahead and got a new one.
that's the only reason I actually bring the queens home in the incubators because I'm paranoid about the losing power in the honey house, which is in my main yard. But that's a 40-minute drive from here, and not knowing and all the cells being bad. So I bring it back home.
So did you see Westcliffe's suggestion in there? Put a
Somebody
UPS
else had
backup
mentioned
on it.
that too. How long do those last?
You
You
know,
can
West,
get them to last any length of time basically you want. We used to have them on computers in the fire station, and some of them last 24 hours.
Really?
yeah, but
Yeah.
they're expensive.
I might have to look at 24. I mean, the last 24 hours, I could leave my stuff in the honey house and not have to haul it back and forth constantly. Think about that.
Trading Coke bottles for 2 cents. I think I always got 5 cents. 5 cents or 6 cents.
Yeah, I remember doing that too. Coke bottles for 2 cents.
I thought it was a nickel, but I'm
Yeah, it was up. I
slightly
think
younger than y'all.
I guess it depends on where you were in the country as to how much it was.
they went up to a nickel or something like that. It used to
Yeah.
be so many cents, and then they jumped them up to a nickel.
Yep.
Then after plastic come along, that all went by the wayside.
Yep.
2 cents and 74. It was higher than that here, I think, at that time.
Oh, I was only 1 in 74, so
Yeah.
I wasn't doing it then.
Yeah. If you got enough Coke bottles for 2 cents and you traded them in, man, you were rich.
I did more of the aluminum can trading in when I was a kid.
Takes too many of them.
Yeah, I have to say, Uncle Junior, and there was a friend of mine. He had one of them machines, where you could pull the Coke out like that.
Yep.
And he always stated that if you ever tasted a Coke out of that 8-ounce bottle versus the other bigger bottles, that the 8-ounce,
16. Yeah.
the 8-ounce tasted better because it had the same amount of Coke flavor
Yep.
in that bottle that they put in the 16-ounce.
Yep.
Really?
That's what he always told me, and I have to say the 8-ounce did always taste better.
Yeah, we had a community store near us that had the water coolers that circulated water. Yeah. They had a cooler for Pepsi and they had a cooler for Coke.
Yeah, they were kind of wet on the inside.
Yeah. Down here, Pepsi doesn't do very well. It's all Coke. I think it's a southern thing. It used to, not so much anymore. But when I was younger, you'd go to a restaurant or something, and you'd order a Coke, and they'd ask what kind. Like Coke was just the soft drink, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. I always liked Pepsi for a long, long time, and then remember they had that new Coke and all that kind of stuff. And
Oh yeah,
horrible.
That all fizzled out and all that stuff. Then I got to be diabetic, so I do Diet Coke.
we had grape knee high and orange knee high and orange crush.
I hadn't seen Orange Crush in a while either.
I got packets of that flavoring for the water. I use that for.
Oh man.
Oh, anyway. So, anybody else want to come on? Click on the link.
Yeah, come on in here.
When you graft, Charlie, how many cells you graft at a time?
I do 30, 2 bars. Last year, when I got done with Bill's class, whenever that was, I guess it was about this time last year, and it was cold last year too. And I think I got 28 out of 30 accepted.
I usually do 2 bars now too. I'm set up. My frames will hold 3.
Yeah. Let's see. Is that a 10 framer? That's a 10 frame box there. No.
My bars are just wood with a rip down the middle, and you can fit 20 JZBZ cell cups. You actually can fit 21 in the space of the width of a frame.
Mm-hmm.
I just put 20 on each bar usually.
Trying to get out of the picture here. Get over here. Let's see. You can't see it. Anyway, what I've got, I use 5-frame nuke. Yeah, if you look where my, I don't know whether my cursor's there or not. That little hive right there is my cell builder. It's a double 5-frame medium, and so I got 10 medium frames of brood, cat brood in there with bees, with several shakes of bees. Well, what I did was you go back to hives maybe the next day or so, or within a couple hours, take off the inner cover, and you got them full of bees up there, and I'll take the inner cover over there and just shake it off down in there. And that's a quick, easy way of doing it.
Yep.
And Brian or Bracken sent you email, Eddie Baker. He's out there in Utah.
Oh, okay.
He's I don't know. He sends hives out to almonds and stuff.
That's not Bracken, huh? No.
Yeah, that's Bracken.
Oh, it is?
Bracken Baker.
Okay.
So Tom says, walk out in the yard and show us, point it out, Charlie.
Yeah, we'll do that one time.
I did not get an email. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, Jolt. I remember that.
Yeah, that stuff will kill you. I agree with Clay.
Now, my cousins down in the Carolinas, they were into something that was yellow. Dewdrop, is it?
I don't think that's Bracken.
Sundrop?
This is somebody that wants to come pick up queens.
Oh, maybe it is then.
Brian Baker. But
Okay.
yeah, if you're still listening, you can absolutely contact me to schedule a pickup. Actually tomorrow if you want. I'll email you back when this is done.
Come on in here,
So,
Tom.
Anyway, that's what I do for my cell builder. I can pack it in tight like that. It works good for 30 cells. That's all I want. It's all I can handle. And all that. And like these guys, well, it's like you know, I don't know. You graft every day or
Oh no, I graft every Tuesday.
just every once a week like I do?
Just once a week, yeah. And I got way more than what I can deal with too. In fact, I scaled it way back last week because it got to where what am I going to do with over 100 queens every week? That like 100 extra queens every week. That's what I was ending up with. Like I didn't drop it back. I got Kent was messing with. He's saying, what's going to happen is you can scale it back. All of a sudden, you can get a great big order. Like that's been my worry,
Yeah.
But
No, I mean, like a lot. I had that one guy that guy's talking about he lost them 100 hives. Well, I watched the video there where he was setting up a pallet. No, Uncle Junior, I don't shake it back in there. I keep reusing that thing. I can, as long as you keep putting new brood in there. Once this brood gets all hatched out, and just keep putting frames of brood in there, and it'll go all summer long.
Yeah, it will.
With no queen, and I keep grafting. I'm going to try to graft on a weekly basis, if anything, and try to get some mated queens and all that. So, but anyway, they're and that's the thing, it's like you were saying about volume, about mated queens, like Hardiman's down there. They graft every day, 7 days a week, but they got certain amount of hives right there that are the timing boxes are right there at the grafting house, and their cell builders are there. And I think maybe the graft might stay in them cell builders 24 hours, 48 hours, something like that. And then they never showed me that part of it. They somehow transfer them to the cell builder
Finisher.
apiary, where they have, uh, a ton of cell builders that finish them out. And then once they get them finished and all that, they bring them back to the house there where they put them in the incubator, which is just an old refrigerator. That's it. And they, get them within a day or two of hatch, and they put them in a children's sand bucket, like they have the Italians and they have the Russians. The Russians are usually like blue caps, and the rest of them are whatever colors they use.
What do you mean a children's sand bucket?
They instead of how everybody thinks the cells are so what do you call it? Not flimsy, but
They're sturdier than people think, but
they're sturdier, and they take they got hired people, of course, and have little kids sand buckets, that the kids play with. They got a bunch of them. They'll fill them buckets up full of
loose
cells, just cells,
loose. Like fill that bucket up.
Yeah, just fill the bucket up.
Okay.
And you go back to he'll take and just dump a bucket on the table there. And he said, I asked him about like humidity. He said, if you put the humidity in there, they'll hatch out faster. We don't want them to hatch out faster. So they have a little more, the humidity is a lot less. That shell's a little on the harder side.
So is this like 2 days before they're emerging?
Yeah, within a day or so emerging, probably. And then they go out to that, in the morning, they'll go out and let's say harvest the Russians, in cage queens. And then we were out there in the evening, or in the afternoon after lunch. And then, all right, well, then they're over there putting cells in the same hives that they just pulled them queens out of. And then we were in the area where they had the Italians, and they were Cajun Italians, or they were Cajun Russians at the time, I forget now. And then, in that area there might be 1,500 boxes, or at least if there's 1,500 boxes, there's a potential for 3,000 queens. So they have about 6 hives with a bunch of drone frames here, there, and everywhere. A group of 6 here and a group of 6 there. These are all amongst these pine trees and stuff. If you don't know where to go, it's out in the middle of nowhere. And that's the to get them queens to be mated and stuff like that.
Did they say how long they let them lay before they harvest them?
Probably a couple weeks. They're going in there probably every couple weeks.
I'm wondering if maybe that's part of my issue is I'm trying to let them lay too long.
Well, Bob Benny says if you let them lay for 3 weeks, they do better.
Yeah, and that's what the Australian study says the same thing,
Yeah, well,
big difference between 2 weeks.
Benny showed that some study, 3 weeks, they're better accepted. They're much better. They're calmer. They're a calmer bee. They've matured,
Right.
psychologically and physically and everything else, and all that, because she'll strut around real slow, like, hey, look at me, I'm somebody. Whereas if she's younger, she'll kind of run around and then get everybody excited, and that's when they start wanting to kill her.
Yeah, that's why 3 weeks. I wanted 3 weeks to be my minimum, but it did not work out for me this year.
Well, that's what I'm going to try to do myself, is try to get them. I'm going to try to put them in 5 frame box, put them in, get about 2 to at least 2 frames, if not 3, depending on how much resource. That's my concern right now. If I got 18 boxes I need to fill, I have enough drawing comb to put in there. I don't have enough. I'm looking for the bees and the brood and whatever to get in there.
Yeah, I think you really need to give them some brood uh, to because I mean, if you're only going to let them lay, they got to have brood. I mean, you got to.
Well, what my plan is, if I start out with, let's say, 2 frames, maybe 3 at the most, and as she grows and gets bigger, I'll put in 2 frames of open brood, open comb in there, let her lay all that up. And I want her to build up as a nice, strong little nuke.
Yeah.
And that's when I'll hopefully by that time it'll be somewhere around mid-June, late June, and I'll drop her right in these old hives.
I think you do 2 frames of brood and a frame of food for her, and then give her 2 frames of foundation if it's a 5-framer. Let them grow into that. Once she's doing well, you'll have no problem transferring that into another hive.
Yeah. See you, Tom. Yeah. So that's my game plan. So we'll see what happens.
And I think you could go into the other hive and just pinch the queen and drop her right in. I mean,
Yeah.
drop the whole 5 frames right in.
Yeah.
So are you talking about mating nukes or splits?
Well, in this situation, it's basically the same thing. Well, not a split. You're creating a mating nuke, but then you create a nuke.
Right.
You let her lay for 3 weeks to where she's gained up to where she's like a nuke. And then, like with the Doolittle method and all that, you go out that old queen, pinch her, pull 5 frames of that out of there, and just drop that whole nuke in there and let her take over the whole situation.
Yep.
You've talked about it, doing it that way, Eddie. The book talks about doing it. I listened to Bob Binney's Sunday thing, and if you listen to what he's saying, he doesn't come out explicitly and state this is what we do or how we do it, what we're trying to create. But if you listen to how the manipulation is, it's like, oh, he's doing exactly what Eddie's doing, maybe in a little bit different way. Like he was requeening those hives. They were double deeps. He made a split up on top, put the double screen bottom board in. He's got her, she's a brand new queen, cells that they used, and they got mated on top. And then the old queen down the bottom, he said, well, once they get up to, like you say, 4 frames of brood, 5 frames of brood in that 10 frame box, he'll go downstairs and kill that queen. And he said, I'll be back in 3 weeks, like he said, and I'll kill the old queen and drop her down on the floor. Now she's a 26 queen. And all. It's the same principle like what we're doing. We're just doing it in a different way.
Yeah, I think the key is you've got all those bees with her that have been.
You got her pheromone, her brood pheromone, and I'll say them bees have got something to do with her pheromone too.
Yeah,
and maybe they have a pheromone that they put out also, and then you just change the direction of the hive, just like that Emily girl that I just talked about earlier. That from Michigan out there. She talked about dropping that new queen in a hive that pull the old queen out. You don't want it sitting there and getting rid of the old pheromones and where they're going to start their own cells. You want them to not have that, not to get the end of their head that way. That pheromone, they want the old pheromones still sitting there, but then you put that new girl in there and her pheromones kind of continue. The old one dies out over time, but hers is already in there too at the same time. So they don't go into that, let's make a queen cell mode.
And she's making the release much longer, like a week or so.
Yeah, she's putting masking tape on those hives. And I don't think I did not see her, and she didn't state that she poked a hole in the middle of that tape. Seemed like she just left that tape on. She was going tape, and then just put the darn thing in there, and maybe it let them chew on that tape and all.
Hey guys.
Hey Norman.
Did you get your styrofoam minis working?
You know what? I got just enough to not give up working. I have what? Basically, I got. I have a whole bunch where the bees are hanging out in it, but I actually have one where they've actually hatched a queen. And I saw today they're actually bringing in pollen. So yeah, it's looking.
Yeah, my problem was never getting the bees to stay or even to get the queen mated. It was the letting her stay in there and lay long enough without leaving was my issue. I just didn't want to pull them early.
I'm not there yet. I'm at pre-problems to you. Yeah.
Did you do your homework?
Yes. Yes, I did. I did do my homework.
So Eddie, when you're doing those 5-frame nuke boxes, what's your entrance? Just about a bee's width?
So most of my 5 frames are I think it's a 1-inch hole.
All right, so you got a hole.
Yeah.
See, my 5 frames are set up just, well, you can see them there. They look just like a miniaturized 10-frame hive.
I do weird bottom boards just because I can build them quicker and cheaper. I use 2x4 material, so it's an 1.5 inch bottom board with screen on the bottom. But I cut like a 3/8 of an inch lip off of it, and I use that between the screen so I can slide coroplast underneath it. And then like my 10-frame equipment is the same thing. I just cut a 3/8 inch hole, and it's about 2 inches wide by 3/8 of an inch, and that's all my entrances on most of my hives now. It's just the 5-frame stuff I did previously, and I drilled a hole. When I make them in the future, I'll just have the 3/8 of an inch cut on it between the box and the rim.
Yeah, I mean, my 2-framers, I just took a dado blade, went, where it's like 3/8 by 3/8. And then I had a wooden block I made with a little, I took a sander and I got one done. And after that was my pattern for the circle part of it, and I put a screw in there. And then I took a piece of cardboard and doubled it about the thickness of an old match set of book of matches, to give them my height. That way I can take a thing and go like this and open and close that hole in that box. Okay. And I still got them in there. I got 30 of them in there that I can use them. But I got to looking at I'm like, I got all these here nuke boxes and I'll use as many of them as I can. And that way I can just keep adding and growing, and I can slide things over, and not have to bump the queen or whatever.
I really like 5-frame equipment a lot.
Huh?
I really like 5-frame equipment a lot.
Well, I got to thinking about this over the last couple of years where, all right, let's say you build a 3-frame box, yourself. Like, all right, that's all you can do with it, And then I know up in the Amish you can buy a 4-framer. Well, then by the time you do a 3-framer, you're only 2 frames off from a 5-framer, which is a standardized piece of equipment. And I'm like, you might as well just buy a 5-frame, and you could actually have a follower board in there, if anything, if you wanted to, or a piece of, that kind of thing. But I don't think you could have some whole gaps there. Maybe I don't think they're going to draw a comb on you too bad at that point in time because they're so small of a hive.
Yeah. What was your homework, Norman?
Well, we can't talk about that now because I kind of forgot what it was I was actually supposed to do. But I did a lot of homework.
I figured.
Yeah. Hey, I forgot on the day. You remember saying, "Hey, what was it?"
Yeah, you didn't write it down, did you?
Well, I didn't even get off the stream before I forgot what you were doing.
That's what I figured.
Yeah, I'm not a smart man.
Yeah, I forget what was it anyway. The question.
I don't even think Bill remembers. He just remembers it. I don't remember.
I really don't remember.
Yeah, there we go. Then it wasn't that important.
Yeah.
But this week I'm trying something a little different, and I'm doing it in the home yard instead of the away yard, so the traveling's a lot easier, and I can set up a nice work area, and it's I gotta say, it's nice working at home rather than out of the back of your car or the back of your truck or whatever. But this time I'm trying it. I got a nice big massive hive here as well, and just as big as that one I was talking about in my other yard. So I'm going to use that as my cell builder. And the other bonuses is that my original Golden West Queen is in this yard, so I can poach eggs off her. So I took eggs off her, and then I was putting it in her daughter, who's an absolutely massive hive right now. And last time I did it with the queen up, we call that, the Anne Frank. And this time I'm doing it with the queen on the bottom. And I did the whole bee, shake all the bees down and put all the brood up, and waited half a day, and it populated pretty good. I don't know that I got enough bees up high that it's going to be as successful as I want it to be, but it's warm, so we'll see what happens.
But did you put the double screen bottom board in?
No, I just did the queen excluder because I needed the bees to come up in. I needed my nurse bees to go up.
Yeah, I get that part, but take the queen excluder out after you get that accomplished, and then put your double screen in. Then you cut off the pheromones. Then the hive upstairs, we're queenless because there's no more pheromones being transmitted upstairs.
Yeah, that might be the problem with this one. That I've already put all the cells in, like on the day.
Yeah.
So it's like I hope they start them.
You put the cups in. You didn't.
Well, I put the cups with the larva in.
Right. So did they start building cells?
I don't know. Yeah, I only did this. I did it like an hour ago.
I mean, sometimes you can get away with grafting above an excluder. Kent does it now and then. We got a guy named Sammy down here, and he runs 1,500 hives, and that's all he does. He grafts above an excluder. He swears it works. He's been doing it for years because there is now he puts an excluder in, and he's not grafting into it that day. He's letting it sit with an excluder for a while because there's some pheromones that the queen spreads by walking on the comb, and that disappears above the excluder. I say, and my buddy Kent down here is experimenting a little bit this year. He did try last year; it didn't work for him, but this year he said it is working a little bit.
All right, you got to take your medicine now.
You got to take the medicine. I'll be back in a moment, boys.
Hi, dear.
That's my wife, Johanna.
Hi.
All right, open your mouth up.
Yeah,
Now we're
open up and say,
All right.
It's his monthly worming.
yeah, our poor little boy's having a tough time right now.
Uh,
Okay, my love. There you go.
There you go. So now he's all drugged up. He'll be nice and relaxed for the rest of the day. I was
he's stumbling going
CBD.
out the door.
Zoom.
One of them was stumbling going out the door.
Oh, yeah, that's the Chihuahua. Yeah, we adopted her a year ago. Yeah, you can turn that off. But yeah, our neighbor had it, and it was just in rough shape, and it was a bad. She had basically adopted it from one of her tenants. The tenant had gone to an old folks home, and they couldn't take the dog, so she just had to leave the dog behind. Yeah, it's pretty much a cat. So, anyways, the woman who had it has she's got 5 cats and 2 dogs, and this dog was just getting beat up by everybody. So we took it, and it was she's 14, and she was fat and having a hard time, and she's really come to her own now. So she's still waddling, but she's a lot healthier. She's a lot happier here. Old Sparty 2-dog house. But yeah, what was I saying there? So yeah, so I did okay. So I grafted my cells from my Golden West, and then I put them in the daughter's hive. And I agree with you that the double screenmore might be the way to go, but I'm just hoping I can get away with it. Like I'm experimenting with it. This, like, you know, I'll know in 4 days, right? And if it doesn't work, I got a double screen board. I'll stick in there and I'll do it that way. But if I can do it like that, that would be really slick, because then I can kind of, you know, I can shake the bees down, you know, basic, and then put all the brood up top, and then wander off, and then come back and put queen cells in. That would be like a huge time saver. But yeah, I don't know if that's going to work. £17 cat, a dog. Yep. Sure. Why not?
Hey, Brian Baker, the guy, he sent me an email earlier. Give me a call tomorrow on my cell phone. You're on my website. My number's on there. It's on the contact, and we'll set up a time for you to come pick up those queens.
So these are queens you did in like what were you saying? You got 4 frame or 5 frame boxes? Is that what you're doing, man?
So I graft in 10 frame boxes. I just like 5 frame boxes for stuff.
Okay.
I do virgins mostly. I just can't get. I don't have enough bees to do a lot of mated queens, and I was trying to do the minis, and it was a catastrophe this year. I've got some 3-ways going, but not enough. I mean, I was hoping to make a whole bunch of late splits with mated queens, and it just got to change my idea of what's going on. I only got 3 of those little minis still running, and who knows if those 3 are going to make it. But I do virgins every week from the breeding program, and locally I just hand them out. Just trying to get more of the genetics out here. I mean, I sell them online and ship them places, but if you're local, you can just pick them up from me.
No, that's really generous of you.
Yeah. Next year I'm going to charge a little something, but just to cover my.
Yeah, next year will be $1. And then the year after that, it'll be 2. And then in 100 years, it'll be $100. Yeah.
But we're just trying to push the bee lab stuff down here in the area, and Frank is wanting to start genetic testing between where I'm at and where he's at in Baton Rouge, and see how far the pole lines are spreading. That way, he's hoping that it's a gradual decrease. He's hoping it doesn't come in and just drop. You know.
Right. Well, about the foam nukes, if you don't give up on, like, they have the double story ones. You ever see that?
I've got some of them.
And you never, like, did they actually draw those out? And...
I never actually put the second story on them. I got some of those. I like the fact that there are 4 frames in those to start off with.
Yeah.
So those hold 6. I thought I tried a little bit of both. You know, I get the, you know, I get them started, and then I pull the feeder out and put 2 more frames in so they have more space. I thought that would just give me more time for the issues, but I don't know. It didn't work. In fact, maybe that could be part of my problem. That's the one different thing. I didn't do that to all of them last year. I didn't pull all the feeders and throw extra frames in all of them last year. I did at some point, but not right away. I can't see how that could be what's causing my problem.
I have the feeling they get too hot.
I mean, they're in 100% shade.
Oh, are they? Oh, yeah. Okay,
yeah. I've got them on my barn. They never get any sun. So I thought that they would get too hot too. So my buddy Kent's like, you ought to put them out in the middle of the field in the middle of the sun. That styrofoam's not going to be hot on the inside. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I had one. I had a real nice fence post. I put it on last year, and it To its credit, they tried to put wax down. They started it, and then like I go in and I'd look, and it's like, the wax is all wrong, guys. So I'd mash the wax down and made them do it again.
Well, do you put starter strips in?
I put a starter piece of wood in,
That should work.
and it didn't work.
No.
No, they were going the other way. But this hive, the one hive I got going right now, starter strips, heavily waxed, already drawn out. They're going to town. They're bringing pollen in.
Your beeper went off.
Thank you. I got to take something off the barbecue. I'll be right back.
Well, it's after 10 o'clock.
Oh, wow.
Yep, it's a school night. I'm sure there's a lot of y'all that need to go to work tomorrow. So, Michael, don't forget to text me everything so I can get this out to you. And I'll see you again Friday night on Charlie's Chat. Tomorrow night is Tom McBee's. And then Wednesday night is Brian with the stream team. And Thursday night is Joey. Keith. Yes, Keith. And then Friday night is Charlie, and Saturday night is Joey. So y'all stay
I'm not
tuned.
sure whether the Westford bound is going to be Thursday or not.
Yeah.
They were there. They were going to do it last week, but they had to cancel, I think.
Okay. So y'all stay tuned, and we'll be back. Y'all have a great evening.
We'll see
Night.
y'all.
Right.